Correct. Let's begin. Yesterday we had the listening test. So we started the listening test yesterday, and it helped us to understand one of the basic things you must do during your exam, and that is actually understanding instructions. We were able to understand how to interpret instructions. For instance, we learned yesterday that when an instruction or when a section says, when a section has an instruction that says no more than one word and or a number, it simply means your answer can be in one word. Your answer can be in one word and a number. It can also be a number without a word. Then if another section says no more than two words and or a number, it means your answer can be in one word. It could be in one word and a number. It can as well be in two words or two words and a number. Then lastly, it could be written just as a number without a word. Then if it says no more than three words and or a number, the whole of these will always apply. So do not assume that because the instruction says no more than one word, then you begin to write, and no more than two words, then you write two words all through. That would make you stand very high chance of losing a lot of marks, because some answers may require just one word answer and not two. Alright, so today, yesterday as well, we learned about the trick. The trick, we talked about the bracket trick. I would like to get the feedback from us. Daisy, are you there online? Are you there? Okay, I think the volume on your phone seems to be quite low, so I can barely hear you. Okay, if you are there, could you please give us a recap or a summary of what we learned or what I taught about the bracket trick yesterday? Hello, we are listening. Rakib, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can't hear you. Daisy, if you are there, please increase the volume on your phone or the gadget you're using. Well, we can hear you, so sorry. Rakib, can you give me a summary of what we learned yesterday about the bracket trick?
Yeah, bracket trick is basically used to separate our answers when we are not too sure of the word we are listening to.
Okay. So how do you apply the bracket trick when you are treating a section that says no more than one word? I want you to just give us the application of bracket trick following the instructions from one word to two and three words.
For instance, if the question is saying no more than one word and we have something like good or books, so we can just write good and bracket our eyes.
Okay, all right, that's for one word section, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let me hear from those of us here. Please school us on the application of bracket trick under sections that say no more than 2 words and or a number. How is it applied?
For the section that has to do with 2 words, if maybe the main word, which is the correct answer, and you're not sure if the preceding word before it also applies, you can put that in brackets to kind of let the examiner know that the one before also. Sorry, I'm confused already.
Okay. You're quite early today. Tell us how to apply the bracket trick when you're treating a section that says no more than 2 words and or a number.
No more than 2 words and or a number. Okay, so in this case, first of all, to apply the bracket trick, like you said, yes, you have to work hand in hand with the instructions. So as the instruction says, not more than 2 words and or a number. So it means, for instance, we have, let's say, the ball. For instance, we have the ball, right? The bracket is going to be on V, while the ball is going to be left standing, because the ball or V is used to describe the ball, so to speak, or your ball is your noun in that case, or the main subject, something like that. So if you're not sure if your answer should be the ball, then you put V in bracket and then you leave the ball. So in that case, your examiner can decide to take just the ball or the ball, something like that.
Something like that. Thank you. Please explain how to apply the bracket trick. 3 words. Do you know how to apply for 2 words? What about 1 word?
So for the 3 words, just like they said, if you are not sure of the answer, let's say there are 3 words there. Yesterday we used the green garden.
House.
The green garden, yes. So we had to bracket them individually. That was bracketed differently. The green was bracketed differently. Then the garden, which is the main answer, we left it that way so that the examiner can always pick the one that is correct. Am I correct?
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I always want us to give feedback to help me understand if you actually got what was taught, maybe in the previous meeting. So, just a very brief discourse on this. I would simply say your feedbacks are all correct. Just for us to understand that the bracket trick is a practice of making our answers stay safe, right? And it also helps the examiners to know which your main answer is in each question. Your main answer must never be put in bracket. Don't forget that. If you leave your main answer in bracket, it means you have no answer. And you don't write more than the number of words stipulated in the instruction and then hope that the bracket trick will help you to stay safe. It doesn't. Your application of the bracket trick must work hand in glove with the instruction. If the instruction says one word, you are to write only one word. If you write two words because you feel you heard something, yes, and then later on you heard another word, then you left the primary one you want to leave and write the other one and put it in bracket. And you hope that examiner should count it as one word, but in case you want the other one, just help me and take it. At that point, you've lost the answer. Right? It's only when the instruction says no more than two words, that's when you can write two words and put one in bracket. That's the only time it works. The bracket trick does not make any word invisible. Every word still counts, even if it's in bracket. Okay, then you also need to understand that you don't put two words in one bracket. Don't put two words in one bracket. So you need to put, each word has to be in its own bracket. Please remember that. If you put two words in one bracket, you automatically annul those words. They don't stand to exist. Alright? So that's it about the bracket trick. We shall move very quickly into tips. The tips. Do your listening test. Please, you need to write very quickly. Tip number one. Tip number one. Always read instruction before starting any section. For your listening test, tip number one, always read instruction before starting any section. Tip number two, identify the number of words stipulated in the instruction. Identify the number of words stipulated in the instruction. Tip number three.
Identifying the question.
Tip number two says, identify the number of words stipulated in the instruction. For instance, when the instruction says no more than one word, what are you to identify there? One word. So you need to circle it or write it boldly somewhere just to help you to place your check. Right? So you don't get carried away and write more than what is required. Tip number three. Read the questions before the audio begins to play. Read the questions before the audio begins to play. Next tip. Write your answers while the audio is playing. Write your answers while the audio is playing. Next tip. You're free to write up to 2 potential answers beside the question being treated. You're free to write up to 2 potential answers beside the question being treated, but ensure to transfer the most appropriate. You are free to write up to 2 potential answers beside the question being treated, but ensure to transfer the most appropriate. Ensure to transfer the most appropriate. Next tip. Do not pause your concentration to think of an answer missed. Do not pause your concentration. In order to think of an answer missed. Else, you miss more. Next tip. Continue with the next question. Continue with the next question. Should you miss an answer while the audio is playing? Continue with the next question. Should you miss an answer while the audio is playing? Next tip. Note that IELTS is testing your spelling skills. Note that IELTS is testing your spelling skills. Therefore, always write all your answers in full. Therefore, always write all your answers in full. Next tip. Endeavor to transfer all your answers to your answer sheet accurately. Endeavor to transfer all your answers to your answer sheet accurately. Next tip. It is safer to write your answers directly on your answer sheet rather than jotting on question papers first. It is safer to write your answers directly on your answer sheet rather than jotting on the question papers first. Next tip. If your punctuation skills and knowledge aren't good enough, if your punctuation skills and knowledge aren't good enough, then write all your answers in block letters. If your punctuation skills and knowledge aren't good enough, then write all your answers in block letters. Finally, never leave. Pardon?
Can you explain this?
Can you repeat your question?
I say, can you explain tip of the last tip you
If I can explain it. Hello, I don't. Can you repeat the question?
can you explain it?
I will. Just give me a moment. Lastly, never leave a blank space on your answer sheet during your listening test. Or never leave any question unanswered. Never leave a question unanswered during your listening test. Alright. These are tips you must try as much as possible to work with. Please, if you read through all of these tips, you will definitely have a clearer understanding of what IELTS looks like, IELTS listening test. So now, I want us to quickly look at these tips in 60 seconds. Look at the tips. Tell me the ones you are not very conversant with or comfortable with, or the ones you do not clearly understand. Let me quickly explain. In 60 seconds, go through and let me know the ones you have not or do not understand. Yes?
Number 11.
Question, tip number 11.
Yes.
Please read, what does it
If
say?
your punctuation skills and knowledge are not so good, ain't good enough rather, then write all the answers in block letters.
Alright, thank you.
That's tip number 9 and 10.
Okay.
9 says endeavor to transfer all your answers to the answer sheet accurately. Then 10 now says it's safer to write answers directly on your answer sheet rather than jotting on the question paper. It's kind of like contradicting each other. And the question about the 11 as well. So write all your answers in block. That's all the questions or just at a particular question.
Okay. Noted. Any other point? Number 7. Tip number 7. What does it say?
Continue the next question if you missed an answer while you explaining.
Alright, thank you.
That's tip 11 and 12.
Tip number 12. What does it
11
say?
and 12. That's 11 about the block letters.
Yes, punctuation. What about tip number 12?
Never leave a blank space or any question unanswered.
Mr. Ben, you said they can't see the board.
Okay. Can you see the board right now?
Yes, we can see now.
All right. So these are the different tips that have been earmarked as tips that are unclear. So let me begin with the first one, punctuation. If your punctuation skills and knowledge aren't good enough, you should write all your answers in block letters. Now, it is important to actually go straight to the point and let you know that writing your answers during your listening test in block letters is the safest option you should go for. Writing your answers in block letters all through from question number 1 to 40 is the safest option you should go for. Now, why is that the best option? If I ask you, Daisy, please tell us what's your understanding of punctuation. What would you say punctuation means? Right. I think she usually takes all her time before she begins to talk. All right. Mrs. Cody, are you there online? Okay, please explain to us what you know about punctuation. Mrs. Cody, what do you understand about punctuation?
Punctuation is, I don't know how to explain it, but I can give the examples like comma, putting them at the right place, where it's supposed to be.
Okay, you are giving example, I'm asking for explanation. All right, thank you so much. Mr. Aweda.
Just to like, it helps to organize an idea.
Punctuation helps to organize ideas. I'm asking, how can you define punctuation, or how can you explain punctuation, not the importance of punctuation? All right, so I'll go straight to this explanation. If I ask you, what is your thought about punctuation? Most of us will say that they are those marks you apply.
Symbol.
Marks and symbols, right? That you apply when you're expressing yourself. But that's correct, 50%. Punctuation is way beyond marks. Punctuations go way beyond marks. For instance, to begin a sentence, you must punctuate. How do you punctuate to begin a sentence? Starting the first letter in capital, that's punctuation. Punctuation also entails you identifying what we call proper nouns. When you want to write Nigeria, what form of N do you write? Capital N, that's punctuation. When you want to write the months of the year, do you begin with small letters? No, that's punctuation. When you want to write the days of the week, punctuation. When you want to write your name, you must punctuate. So, this tip is saying if you are not conversant, if you don't have in-depth knowledge of punctuation, it is safer for you to write all your answers in block letters. Because there are answers you might want to write. You feel the answer, or where the answer is situated, or is supposed to be situated, is in the middle of the sentence. And all you know is that most words that come after the beginning should be in small letter. So you just write small letter, you'll be marked wrong. Because you didn't apply punctuation. Do you understand this? So, if you find a word you do not know, you are not very, you are not so exposed if a word is a proper noun, if the word you want to write is a proper noun. Because if I ask you what are proper nouns, can we explain? What are proper nouns? Can you give us a little?
The name of the person and the name of place and thing.
Proper nouns are nouns that are used to identify a person, a place, right? They are proper nouns. So you must accord the respect given to proper nouns. So if proper noun, for instance, comes toward the end of a sentence during your listening test, you must begin with capital letter. Now, how do you apply this punctuation? Or why is the block letter a very crucial thing for you to do? Let's say, for instance, you want to write this guy, Okay, let's look at these fonts. Which is correct?
The last one. The last two.
The last two. This and this.
The last one.
The last one. If you consider this to be a proper noun, you are wrong because it's not properly punctuated. Capital letters do not have this curve. See this curve here? I deliberately did that. So you must understand that capital letter should just have this angularity. It is not by size, because when someone sees the length of this guy, you might want to give it a senior man there. But it's not by size. It is by the proper inscription. Right? Now, what is the difference between do you have a difference between this guy and this guy? What is the difference? By size. One is big, one is small. So, if you are looking at it by size, which will you say is the capital letter? The big one, right? And then this guy. What if I then write this? For instance, just an instance. What if I write this? Does this connote capital letter? Is it the same size as this? Is it the same size as this? Yes.
No, it's not.
Is this the same size as this?
Yes.
Almost the same, yeah, of course.
It's the same size. But in this context, it is no longer a small letter. It is now a capital letter, right? But when you compare these two, it is a small letter because there is a bigger boss there. So you want to understand how to actually punctuate properly. So if you're not so sure about what proper nouns are, it is safer for you to write this guy this way. Do you understand this? It is safer. And if you want to apply the block letter template or approach or instruction, you must do it from 1 to 40.
That's all the answers.
1 to 40. Alright? Do not get carried away and you give them a goosey and drop. It will be too nice.
So it is safer to write our answers in capital letter.
Yes, please. It is safer for you. So, Mr. Rakib, what did you say?
No, you mean it's safer to write our answers in capital letters?
Yes, please. But remember, you should, if you choose to go by that, apply it from 1 to 40.
Okay, all the questions.
Yes, please.
So what about cases where you have like 2 words or the ones you put in brackets?
If your answer happens to be a 2-word answer and you want to apply block letter, your answer has to be block letter.
The both.
Yes.
What about the ones you put in bracket when you are not sure?
There must be a.
But when you are not
Even
sure.
the alphabet self capital letter.
Look at it this way. That's the way to go. It is safer. Yes, it is safer. This instruction applies to the reading test as well. Your reading test also applies to. Right? Let's go to the next. Transfer all your answers to your answer sheet accurately. Now, look at it. Certain persons feel the perform better if they get to write the answers on the question paper. They fill in the blanks directly while the audio is playing. It helps them to follow the audio, right? While some other persons have practiced a lot and they've mastered the skills, so it is easier for them to write directly. So it's working for you to write directly, it's working for him to write on the question paper. So this is saying ensure to transfer all your answers. For who? The person writing on the question paper. So transfer all your answers to your answer sheet accurately. Now, this is something you want to look at accurately. Why do you have accurately there? It is risky. It is risky to write on question papers during your listening test. There is tension. You are under serious exam condition. So the risk right there is that you might omit writing answer to number 4 and then you place it on number 5 and then you continue the answers. What does that mean? Everything from that to number 5 is wrong. Do you understand this? So that is why the emphasis is on accuracy. So before you write, take this your finger, put it there. Number 4. Then you remove my right. It helps you. Then here it says it is safer to write answers directly on your answer sheet because of this. And also because of time management. The audio, during your practice, audio will tell you, in the real IELTS exam, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer all your answers. Don't bank on that guy.
Okay, it might not always happen.
It will not mind. It will not always happen. So it is safer for you to write your answers directly on your answer sheet. But if you then get to be given some time to go through, then you are safe. You have nothing to lose. Please. So that's why this guy is emphasizing on writing directly first. But for those, because as far as this exam is concerned, you should work out what works for you. And you can only confirm that by practicing. When you begin to engage yourself with the reading test, you begin to know whether it works for you to begin your reading from section 3 first, before you come to section 1. Or you want to go take on the reading by solving topics first. Because there are reading questions are always given, or reading topics always come in different topics. Reading questions rather come in different topics. So if you have practiced and you have understood the topics, it is safer for you to now solve the questions using the different topics you are conversant with. Okay. All right. We shall look at that. Here says, continue with the next question. Continue with the next question. Why? During your listening test this morning, you had the normal experience where you don't know where the audio is treating. And then at the end of the day, you then heard, that is the end of your listening test section 1. You may now transfer your answers, right? Good. Now, and then at some point too, you were so focused, you tried to follow what the areas the audio is treating. But somehow, you lost it. When that happens, this instruction says, do not try to pause what you are trying to achieve. Do not try to pause your concentration and attention just because you want to think, to remember what may have been said. So this guy right here is saying, continue with the next question. Leave that one that has passed. It will never come back. They said, let bygone. She said, let bygone be bygone. So it's gone. So focus on the future. The past is the past. So that's what this guy is emphasizing on. Now, lastly, we have never leave any question unanswered. What does that mean? Just like let bygone be bygone, not in IELTS. You have to go back. Go back, advise yourself, or else your band score will advise you. Alright? So when you're done, now look at this. Write your answers directly. When you are, if you are given some time to now check or transfer your answers, those parts that you omitted, you use that time to pray for grace. Grace to guess right. So you look for something that you feel may make sense in the sentence. You write it. It may be correct, it may be wrong. So what if you guess 5 answers and 2?
Right.
And 2 happen to be
That
correct.
could only work in the places where you have to beat alphabet.
ABC.
But if it's lines where you have to fill in things.
One word?
Like
No, that,
filling the
there's
words.
nothing.
No. It has worked for a lot of people.
It can work.
It has worked.
Even
Yes.
as you're writing your answers directly, there are some words you
You-
also need to put
Yes.
aside.
If you paid much attention.
Not in your answer sheet.
Because I've tried
Even as you're writing directly, you can also just jot out some words that you understand.
When I was
Then
doing
you
my
move on.
practices, like I was just jotting
Like,
down
that's the way I
words
treat it
on
though.
the question paper, and then after the whole reading, yes, after when I finished everything, I now went to the part I missed and picked one of the random.
Yeah. Okay, you wrote down, right?
Okay, you see?
That's as simple.
Saving time.
Yes.
Of
Of
course.
course.
Now, let's look at it this way. If you are treating a section that says no more than 1 word, your answer should be 1 word at most, right? Now, if you got the tip that says feel free to write up to 2 potential answers beside the question being treated, it's there. It's one of the tips you wrote down. Now, why do you have to do that? Because of situations like this. When you feel you are not comfortable with the answer you have written, you have an alternative to fall back to, right? So you can go and make a choose between the 2 and decide on the one you feel is better. But if you wrote just 1 word and that's it for you, if at the end of the day you are trying to go through your answers and you notice that this doesn't make sense right here, you do not have any other option. And you may never remember what was said within that period. So let bygone be bygone. It will work in that situation. Alright? So please, these tips will help you. They will help you to, know and have an idea or prior knowledge of what IELTS listening test should be. Right? So we shall continue with the next T, which is techniques. Okay. Let's look at techniques. So the technique right here that we're going to focus on is paraphrase. We have built this foundation during the essay section, right? Paraphrasing, which is the practice of restating an information using synonyms or phrases that still retain the original idea, right? So, in listening tests, paraphrasing is high. Paraphrasing happens in every section. So you must understand that that topic we treated in listening as the very first basic we had will help you to now deal with all of these. That's why it is important you build that foundation first. So here, during your listening test, you realize that the audio do not ever use the same words you have read to treat those questions. Audio will always use the synonyms of those words to treat those same questions. So if you're waiting to hear the audio, read the question exactly the way it's written, you may never find or hear any answer. Because while you're waiting to hear the word, the answer will be said. Right? So this is the reason. Audio paraphrases the questions written in words to figures. Audio would use figures to express those words that are, or some of the words written in the questions. Let's take for instance, if your question has that something happens every half an hour, audio paraphrase it to every 30 minutes. Do you understand this? If something happens if your audio says if the question paper has it that something 100%, let's say the whole money was invested in cryptocurrency. The whole funds, the whole money was invested in cryptocurrency. Audio will not say the whole money. Audio will tell you that 100% of the funds was put into a digital currency. So 100% of the funds was put in. That's the whole money now. The whole paraphrased what? 100%. Funds paraphrased what? Money. Cryptocurrency paraphrased what? Digital currency. So you don't expect the audio to use the same words. It will be easy. Everybody will pass. I want to test to get the smart heads. Those that will come and solve problem in their country, not those that will bring problem to their country. Right? So please, when you are listening, put it at the back of your mind or at your fingertips. At your fingertip that I may never hear these same words. So whenever it tells me, first you have some time to read questions 1 to 5. This is why they want you to read. They want you to read so you prepare your mind for the possible substitutes and synonyms they would use. Please, whenever you are given that time to read, read. It's important. It will help you to get prepared for it. Okay? Then, let's go to figures to words. You might see that a parent or certain parents spent about 100 cents to buy a particular toy for their son. A particular parent spent about 100 cents on a toy for their son. Now the audio, when the audio want to talk about this, the audio will convert 100 cents to what? $1. $1. That conversion has been done. So on your question, you're seeing 100 cents. But the audio converts it to $1. So you need to understand that this is where it's talking about, but let me now wait to hear my answer. But when you are busy waiting to hear 100 cents answer, they will tell you, no, it's far gone. Right? So that's the way to go. Always read whenever it tells you to read. Please, it is important. Read and identify the keywords in every question. Whenever you are told, read questions 1 to 4. Use your pencil. Underline those keywords because those are the words the audio would substitute. And I tell you now, if I give you that audio again, you know you do better now, right?
Of course.
Because you have now, you've gotten a snippet of the hot drink. Right? So, that's just how it goes. Now let's look at Words or figures to fractions or percentages. Words or figures to fractions or percentages. So when you see something written in Word and it says a quarter, a quarter, who can paraphrase a quarter to Word again? A quarter back to Word. The same word. 1/3. How do you write 1/3? No. I mean word. He's giving me word, right?
Yes.
How do you write 1/3?
1. Or ice cream.
1/3. Is there such word as 1/3?
Yes.
Do you have such word as 1/3? It may be correct. I wouldn't know, but I think it doesn't really sound. It may be correct. Now, I won't fly this. Is there another way to paraphrase a quarter? Daisy, is there a way to paraphrase a quarter back to Word again? Hello, Daisy, can you hear me? No. I'm not talking about percentage. I said paraphrase a quarter. A quarter is written on the board. Can you see it?
Yes.
Good. I said, can you paraphrase that a quarter in Word again?
It was.
Yes, in words. Don't worry, don't stress yourself. We'll look at that together. Mr. Rakib.
Yes, 25%.
Okay, I said in word.
I don't know.
Okay, you want to write 25% in word? 25%.
104.
Less than half.
Less than half.
If you say 1, okay, no, I'm just saying.
Okay, you're chatting.
104, like you mentioned.
1/4. You want I should write 1/4.
Less than half.
Okay, 1/4.
It's not 1 of 4.
Sir?
Quarter.
Alright. Do not stress yourself.
Correct.
It's very simple. The answer is right here in front of you. 1/4. You don't need to imagine anything, it's there. IELTS has made people you are now going outside. Going too far away.
Honestly.
Quarter.
Yes, that's the Queen's English. Quarterette. Okay. A quarter is 1/4. What did we paraphrase? A to 1, right? Now, let's look at how can you substitute or paraphrase a quarter in fraction. 1/4. Thank you. 1/4. This is the paraphrase of 1/4 or a quarter in fraction. In case you see this when you're reading, you might see 1/4. Then the question would say a quarter of. Go back to that where that's 1/4. That's where your answer lies. Please, do you understand this? Then, how can we paraphrase 1/4 or a quarter to percentage? 25%. Please, are we following this? In case quickly. Okay, so in 2 minutes, please write somewhere at the back of your notes or on a rough paper what you would paraphrase or substitute each of those expressions with. Do you understand this?
The back of your hand.
Anywhere, because we are going to do this together. So you don't have a rough note. So somewhere at the back of your notes or anywhere. But if you're 101% sure, you can write directly on your notes. So write whatever you feel every day can be paraphrased to. Right? And all of us too. In 2 minutes. Alright. Let me not stress us. Let me not stress. Let me not stress. Ladies first, even in the classroom. We must respect that and the gentlemen everywhere. Daisy, will begin with you. Please let me know, what did you paraphrase every day to be? Daisy, are you there? Okay, Mrs. Cody, let's hear you. What? Mrs. Cody, what did you paraphrase every day? Pardon? Daily? All right. Rakib, what's your paraphrase for every day?
Every day is daily.
Daily.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. Daily.
Yearly.
I believe that's what we have to, right?
Yes.
Daily. Then you can have daily as the paraphrase or every 24 hours, right? It's not, let's go to week, every week. What do we have? Weekly.
Or 7 days.
Or every 7 days. Right? What about every 2 weeks? Fortnight.
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly. Please spell it.
Bi. B-I.
Mm-hmm.
And then weekly.
Together?
You can have the...
No. How did you write? Thank you.
I wrote it together, actually.
That's the perfect way to write it. It doesn't need hyphen. Right? Now let's go to every month. How did you paraphrase every month? Monthly. Monthly or
each month can also serve.
monthly is perfect. We're trying to express advanced. Every 4 weeks is also very perfect. No. What happens to February? But February has 4 weeks. Right? So 4 weeks covers every month. Now let's look at every 3 months. Quarterly. Now every 6 months. You need to talk into this mic.
6 months. Every 6 months.
Half yearly.
You put second quarter.
Half yearly.
Half yearly, half a year.
6 months.
Chief, Mr. Rakib, you wrote what?
Square cut.
Square
IELTS we hear.
media.
They've not seen anything yet.
Can we say every media?
No, please.
Wow.
All right. Every 6 months is biannually.
That one is 2 years. I put biannually for 2 years.
Biennially at least.
Don't worry, they'll be here. So every 6 months is biannually. Do we understand that? Then every year is what? Yearly
Annually.
or annually. Every 2 years is biannually.
Okay, I see.
Oh, really?
Yes, really.
This is what they do. Yes. Agriculture is true that year.
Perennial, biennial.
Yes.
So biannually for every 2 years. Then nearly 25. How can you express?
Quarter of a century.
Wow.
Quadra.
How do you express?
I will drop that in English.
It's very simple. Nearly 25. Just simple it again.
Almost 25.
Almost 25 can fly. Or simply say about 25.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
Every 2 years, the ZBIE.
Yes, please.
So,
20 persons. 20 people.
Scores.
Thank you. A score of individual paraphrases 20 persons. A score. Okay, you like scoring goals, right?
Yes.
A score of individuals. A score of individuals would help you to paraphrase 20 persons.
So we can't say 20 people.
We're talking about paraphrase. Score means 20. What about 10 years? How do you paraphrase that? A decade. Decade. A decade. Right? Then 30 years.
A generation.
3 decades.
I like that.
3 decades.
3 decades. That's very biblical.
Generation. 25 years anniversary.
3 decades. What about 25 years anniversary?
About 25. Quadra centennial.
Golden and the
Huh?
50 years.
So this one was
Oh,
silver.
silver jubilee.
Silver Jubilee.
What the hell is
Golden
Gold.
Then 50 years becomes what? Golden Jubilee.
Century.
Century. Centenary. Centenary.
100 years.
Century. Centenary.
century.
100 years means a century. A century. One. Please always quantify. 1. 1,000 years.
Millennium.
Mistake.
Millennium.
1,000 years is what, you know?
A millennium.
A
Millennium.
millennium. Please spell your millennium.
M-I-L-L.
M-I-L-L.
E-M-M-I-U-M.
We what?
E-M-M-I-U-M. Double. N. N. 2 N.
Millennium.
Double N. I-U-M.
Perfect.
Study is no problem.
Like Millennium Park.
It's pronounced as millennium. Millennium. Thank you. Okay, so right here on the board we have a list of expressions and there are different ways of being paraphrased. These are things you might get to hear during your listening test, and at times you won't know that the audio has actually substituted what you have read to their paraphrased version. And once you are not following, you definitely won't know when the answer will be said. Right? Okay, so that's it. Please add these to your vocabulary bank and always have them around you. That's the only way you'll be able to cope with the listening piece and other things that we follow. Please, can I wipe the board?
Yes, you can.
Buckinghamshire.
Yeah. Garlic. They speak garlic. You don't know how to spell the garlic. You not spell normal garlic, ginger garlic. But that's not the spelling.
Thank you. Now, in IELTS, there are things they won't give to you because they know that you may never have been to that city before. You might not have studied geography to know some of those mappings and all that. So they are not rejoicing test takers by putting them to such tests. You've seen spelling of city.
That was not. It wasn't in the question. I wasn't seeing it, and I couldn't spell what I was supposed
And
to write.
it is the answer.
Yes, I think that was the answer. I know
This
they
is
said
weird.
those things.
Yeah, that's so-
Is where.
For me to have asked, that means it's something.
Yes, you have come
more
across,
than-
right?
Yeah.
But it's actually weird to me. I know they won't put to such test without spelling it. If
Or people's names too, like that listening test.
it was spelled,
No, that was the answer. But it, they
Yes,
pronounced
my
it.
listening test, there was a
Jamieson.
it was
Yes.
spelled.
They spelled
Jameson.
Jamie.
It was spelled.
Yeah,
Don't worry, that's the next phase we are going
That's
to.
the best. That was the
because
first.
I
But Jameson
remember I
is
wrote
simply
the wrong
like
thing.
just
Then when they
James.
spelled
Spelled
it, and I went and changed it.
Yeah, it
There
was
was
written.
even emphasis with I. There's an I
It was
in that
spelled.
name.
I-
It
I-
comes
Just
with
James
an I.
and
Yeah.
It was
It's not that. It's not James though.
It's
Jamie.
with an I.
Okay,
That was
yes.
what they
IE, yes.
Don't worry, that's the next phase we are going
I had to
to.
go and correct it.
So because if the audio throws up something that is not very popular, they will always spell. Phone numbers, they will always call them digits out. Streets, addresses, they will always give you a street name or street number. Names, they will spell, except if it's a popular English name. Right? So please, let's just take the next phase. I think it will take care of all of these concerns. Begin. So let's look at the sections of your listening test. So these are some of the things that would constitute your answers during your listening test. These are areas you should look out for during your listening test. But I want to draw our attention to the fact that your listening test is divided into 4 sections. The first 2 sections are usually about social life. So it's often talking about individual calling or making a request or reporting a situation or making inquiries. They're usually talking about something that has to do with society. But sections 3 and 4 are often about academic. Do we understand this? So they get to ask you questions about studies, school, research, investigations, something that has to do with academic. Right? So let's get started with section 1. Section 1 is usually about dialogue. What does dialogue mean?
Agreeing on something together.
Dialogue means agreeing on something. Thank you, ma'am. What does dialogue mean?
Dialogue means talking to someone, like talking to someone, like two people talking.
Deliberation.
Okay, wait.
Deliberation.
Please talk.
Okay, deliberation between two
Deliberations between
persons.
two persons. Matilda, what does it mean?
The dialogue is basically it's communication, ongoing communication between persons, discussions.
Thank you. Dialogue?
Just a discussion between two or more people.
Two or more people. Two or more.
You can't have a dialogue with just
One person can have a dialogue.
two people.
Two or more. That's what you said.
Yes, I said person. Yes, it doesn't have to be just two.
Okay, it can be more, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's more like an argument between who and who?
Two people.
Between two people.
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Maybe it's just discussions between like two parties.
Two parties. Okay. Nice. Nice, no doubt. Now, Rocky, what does dialogue mean?
Dialogue means discussion between two people.
Mrs. Cordy, Mrs. Cordy,
Conversation between two.
Daisy, what does dialogue mean? Okay. Nice opinions. Dialogue is gotten from the word die, which means just two. Simply and not more. Just two. Right? So, it doesn't mean argument. It doesn't mean agreeing on something. It's when there is argument, then it comes an agreement. That's not, the argument is not the dialogue. Not understanding. Just conversation between two people or two parties.
To come to terms.
No, whether they come to terms, we don't want to know. We don't want to know whether it will end up coming to terms.
Is it just in IELTS? Because from dictionary meaning, a conversation between two or more people.
Dialogue.
Yes, as a feature of a group play, film, and physical.
Dialogue is very simple. From the word die. What does die mean? Two. Two cannot mean more.
This is what Oxford Dictionary is saying.
Is it
Read
based
what
on
else
the
it is.
context?
Oxford Dictionary said dialogue, a conversation between two or more people as a feature of a group play or film.
Future.
And in
Verb.
the context of a film, that's what that
In
one
that
is for.
context.
There are
Based
different
on the
Because
context.
Let me-
have roles, so you
there are
are
different like word now. If you say word now,
It's just
in-
IELTS that picking the one they want.
No, it's not IELTS.
That doesn't mean.
No, madam, it's not IELTS. It's very simple. Dialogue is derived from the root word die. What does die mean? Two. So there is nothing to argue or whether it's wrong or right. It's two.
Merriam-Webster Dictionary is saying the same thing, a conversation
It's
between
a
two or more
conclusion.
people.
Yes.
Two or more people.
Yes.
Now look at this.
Merriam-Webster.
The more people has to do with parties. When two different parties come together to discuss on an issue, it's not just
there are
two.
lots
There are
sometimes to
two,
resolve a
two
matter.
different parties.
You know
Do
now,
you
like how
understand
they are
me?
fighting wars now. Two
So
parties that they are
this
not-
country will send delegates, this country will send their delegates. They are now more than two, but they are representing
two interests.
APC and
it's not, it's very simple. So dialogue has to do with two people or two parties. engaging in some conversation or communication. Now, if it is three persons, each of those three standing for their own ideology, it is not dialogue. It is what we call group discussion. Do you understand this? So they have constituted a group now discussing. But if it's just two people or two different factions or parties, it is dialogue. So maybe they want to come to a consensus. They want to come to terms. Now, in listening tests, during your section 1, the dialogue or dialogues we get to hear are usually via telephone calls. 80% of the dialogues during your section 1 happens via telephone calls, where someone will phone in to either report a situation or lodge a complaint or make inquiries. Right? So when this is happening, these are potential answers that you should look out for. Let's look at the first one, name. Now, what does name play? What role does name play when you are taking on your listening test? The name right there means someone, the caller, may be required to give his or her name. Now, in IELTS, when the caller is required to give the name, of course, the person may be an English national or the person might be a non-English national, right? So if the person is an English, of course, the name will be crystal clear. It may not be spelled because you are required or expected to have known that English name. Since you want to write an exam to prove to them that you know English, they expect you to also have known that name. They will spell it, except if that name is maybe a non-English name, Mexican name, Asian name, Indian name, it will then be spelled. You have just teleported to somewhere, right? Welcome back.
I was just thinking, like, I remember I heard Matthew, and they didn't spell Matthew during the.
But it's a tricky name. That name, Matthew. Do you know why? How do you spell Matthew? Double T before H. Why some people just write Matthew? Right? And some Matthew with double T may not carry H. I've seen this Matthew.
This one mostly, I think, French.
Not really French.
Latin, French.
Do you understand? So, if it is an English Matthew, the one with T is Hebrew. Do you understand? The one with double T and H, Hebrew. But the one with just TH, more of English. Right? Matthew, that's the way they pronounce it. Now, the name, when you look at your question booklet, and you notice that a name is written and then dash follows it, automatically, please prepare your mind. Name will be required. Now, if you look at your question booklet, maybe the first section, and you've just seen that a name is written and beside the name there is dash, expect that the second part of the name will be the answer at that point. So prepare your mind for it. So now, two things are involved. If that name is an English name, a popular English name, it's not going to be spelled. You are expected to, or you are required to know that name. So it will just be said or given, so you should spell it. You don't expect anyone to spell George. Right? You don't expect anybody to spell Michael. Does Michael have different spellings?
Yes.
What is the original spelling?
No.
E-A-L?
It's
Is that the original spelling?
A-E-L.
The original spelling is A-E-L. Nobody's there. They're just, you need something. Check. Okay, the original spelling is A-E-L, Michael. like Raphael. Not Michael. That's the EAL. Is the mistake version. Yes, ma'am. Now, when you are taking on all of that, please listen to the spellings. Let me tell us letters that are always confusing. Letter A, letter E, letter I, letter R, and letter W. How is it being pronounced? Mr. Rakib. Mr. Rakib, answer now. I heard your voice. So. Mr. Rakib, what letter is this? This first one, what letter is that? A. Now, Mr. Rakib, what sound does this letter give us?
Sound like
Sound like what?
A and R.
The sound is A. Mr. Rakib. A. Okay, let me ask again. Daisy, are you there? Daisy, are you there? Take some time. Okay, now let's proceed. The first letter is what? A. Is that the first letter? A. What sound does that letter A give us? R. Does it give us R as well? The second letter is what?
A.
Letter.
E. A.
Letter.
Letter E.
Good. So I say what letter is the second one?
That's the letter E. It is an F sound.
The letter is what?
The small letter E.
Thank you. What sound does it give us?
E.
Eh.
More E.
This is so hilarious.
My
Okay. The second letter is called what?
Letter E.
And the sound it gives us is what?
E.
E. Then the third letter is what?
Letter I.
And it gives you what sound?
E.
Oh, the two of them give the same sound. So how do you know which one to write when they...
Okay,
The third one, letter.
E.
E.
Yeah.
Sound.
That's E. That's what I said.
Letter.
It's I.
The fourth letter is what?
R.
Hmm?
R.
E.
What sound does it give us?
The animal. The E.
Madam, the fifth letter right there is what?
So it produces the two depending on what one.
The fifth letter.
W.
Fifth letter. W. Sound. Alright.
Why?
Fifth letter.
W.
W. Sound. U. Fifth letter. W. Sound. Ooh. Ooh. I heard that sound, please. Let the word hear you. Mr. Rakib,
Sir,
everything that has a beginning must have an end. The last one there, please. What letter is that?
W.
W. What sound does it give you?
Like,
Like what?
uh,
It's very difficult. It's heavy. Okay, let's solve it. Let's solve them together. Now, this is the first letter is letter A. It's pronounced as in IELTS. I. Like people mistake it as I. Go and practice it. I.
So sorry, in a word like cake, what will you pronounce it?
It's spelled as CIKE.
Spelled as,
Yes.
not pronounced as.
I'm giving you spellings now. That's the way it will be spelled when you are to write. Then the pronunciation will be cake. Do you understand the difference? Please note this.
Okay, the spelling you have got, like the phonetic spelling, is that what you mean?
Like
The way it is pronounced by the
if
English.
the audio is to pronounce it, to like spell it, to say.
You hear I. It's CIKE. Cake. Not CA. I didn't pronounce I.
You didn't
I
say
said
I.
I.
Or
When
you
you
would
spell
actually be
it,
writing
Ah.
CAKE.
yes.
Do you understand the difference? It happens so. Pardon?
The spelling stands for the pronunciation.
The spelling stance?
Cake.
Yes. The pronunciation is the same.
But
But it's the
spell-
spelling. That's where people miss letters. People mistake certain letters to others.
What's the spelling?
See? Yes, that's what I'm saying.
that
The
is-
spelling,
it
the
always
spelling
spells it.
is CIKE.
Is that one phonetics, right?
You are going to write CIKE. But when you want to pronounce it, it's cake.
How did I see it?
I
You
don't
see,
pronounce I.
you just said that this word
Look at
the
I is
pronunciation.
pronounced as
is
I. I. That's I.
Pronunciation is not.
Go and practice it.
I.
Don't write cake as I. His pronunciation we're talking about now. When writing normal cake.
Do you know what it's trying to say?
In pronunciation
Like,
is-
the audio is to spell cake now. You will not, the audio will not spell cake. It will spell cat and I can.
But do you understand? Now here you are having E.
Don't worry, it's for a while. After this, we'll go back to
E is a normal E, right? But E is the E for E. Do you understand? E is the E
Please give
for
us
E.
an example.
boy.
Like cake.
An observation?
That's the pronunciation. E is E.
E during the spellings, yes, not phonetic pronunciation.
Okay.
Spelling. I'm talking about spelling. Whatever we are learning now is not anything that has to do with phonics or phonetics. No, it is their own standard of pronunciation. The audio pronunciation. I'm not talking about transcription from dictionaries.
Not Kai.
Do you understand me?
Kai.
Yes, sir. We understand.
That's if they are to pronounce it.
Here you would hear I,
Oi,
I,
oi,
I,
oi,
as if it's O and I. It is I
oi,
that is being spelled.
oi.
Go and practice. Here you would hear R.
Oi.
R. The tongue does not touch the alveolar ridge when an English is pronouncing it. If it is you and I, we vibrate it R. They don't have that time. They just hang it there. R. R. Learn it. So that you don't write A thinking that they gave you the sound R.
You said E is E, right?
E is E. Then
I is
W for us, W for them. W. Don't write UU. It is W. That's what they are spelling. So when it is being spelled, this is where the mistakes come in. When they are spelling a word, a name, a country, anywhere, any information that is being spelled for you, it is at this point you begin to mix the different letters because of the way they pronounce their letters.
Do the W again.
W. W is W, not W. Right? R is R. You write W, not U.
But it's pronounced as W.
It's pronounced as W because that's how it's formed.
Because that changed to W.
We now write
To W.
W for us. W, right?
Give me a word, please.
A word, swallow.
Swallow.
It's spelled as SWILLOW.
Ah. But the O is alright.
O is O. Please go and practice.
But these are common words.
These are letters that people usually have issues with. The other ones, they are always there. Yes,
You
please.
didn't include M and N.
M and N.
I
N.
thought it was M.
No,
I've made a mistake.
W
Karim.
for
What
W.
of K?
W.
What you are trying to
I
spell
already
itself?
say
Is it
U.
Itself.
Letter U. It's U.
Listen, you pronounce that I again.
R.
Oh, actually just the
Oil.
R.
Oil.
R.
Like O I.
Like how to pronounce oil.
No,
Right?
that's the
Like
I.
how
like
to
what
pronounce
you say,
remove the
oil.
L.
Oil.
Mr.
Soil.
Please can you pronounce
Boy.
the I?
R.
Oil.
R.
Oil, remove the L.
Oh, it's
I.
I.
R. Not oil.
Okay,
I.
it will be fast.
R. Okay, let's proceed. So that's about name. Please spell. Now there's a secret about getting spellings. When the word is given ab initio or first time, then the person who is receiving the call will want to write it. You will hear, okay, I would like to take a note of that. How do you write whatever name it is? It will be spelled. Right? After the spelling, the person that has just written it will pronounce that name or word. That pronunciation is for you to check what you have written and make correction. That's the secret. But we don't go at that, right? So always use that to confirm if what you wrote is what is pronounced. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, let's look at phone numbers. If a phone number is required to be part of your answers, then it's going to be called out. The digits will be called out, just like the name spelling. If on your question booklet, because sometimes it happens, you will see the first 3 or 4 digits. Then dash. When you see that on the question booklet, please pay attention to the audio starting with these 4 digits, because it will still begin with these 4 digits. You are not meant to write these 4 on your answer sheet. You are meant to continue after these 2 and write. Please, do you understand this? Your task as a test taker is to write information that cannot be found on the question but given by the
We
audio.
put it in brackets.
No, they will not put it. Even if they put it in bracket, it doesn't still give it to you as option. It's there. But the audio, when the caller, when giving the phone number, would say the number from the beginning, right? So please be careful when you are tensed. Don't make the mistake of writing the part that is already on the question. Now, address. If address is required to be part of your answer or answers, please, on the question booklet, an address will also be written, but there may be omission of the street name or street number. So that street name or street number that is omitted is what you would write, not the complete address. Do you understand this? Nationality is an interesting part. nationality. You need to know nationalities. You need to know. The reason is, sometimes the person may be asked, you are a national of which of the countries, please? Or where are you from? What's your nationality, please? Then the person will call his or her nationality. Nobody will spell it for you. You'll be the one to write it. So you need to know nationalities and their spellings. Can I test us a little bit?
Wonderful.
Let's know how much. No, they're not asking you. The receiver of the call is asking the caller. And then the caller's information is your answer. Do you understand? It's not the nationality that's been talked about now. So, but I want to test you on your knowledge of nationalities. A person from Nigeria is called a what? Pardon? Just a moment. Okay, so let's look at it this way. A person from Nigeria is called a what?
Nigerian.
A Nigerian. Thank you. A person from Niger is called a what?
Nigerian.
Pardon?
I don't know. Nigerian.
Nigerian. Please, let's spell that.
N I J E
Allow her to spell.
Nigerian. R I E N.
Final answer.
O N E.
Another N-E. It's okay? Final answer? Final answer?
Nigerian.
It's not Nigerian. Is it Nigerian or Nigerian?
I said a person from Niger.
It's Nigerian.
It's correct.
It's Nigerian. It's not.
Madam,
A-N is
this your final answer?
Nigerian. It's not correct.
Nigerian. It's A. Everywhere is A. Nigerian.
Here or here?
Nigerian. It's only Nigeria that has A there.
Okay, so the final answer is that. Thank you so much. Anybody with a contrary spelling?
That G is J.
The G is J.
Yes.
I won't even write it.
No.
I won't want to go
For
for
Niger.
Nigeria is still G.
You're right.
All right, she's very correct. She's very correct. A person from Niger is Nigerian. Nigerian. That is French. Please, it's not English. Now, a person from, not you, a person from Netherlands is called a what?
Danish.
A what?
Danish.
A Danish.
Dutch. Is it Dutch or Dutch?
Final answer, Danish.
I watch many movies that some
They speak Danish. That's the language,
But
not
they are Dutch.
nationality.
They are Dutch.
Dutch.
Huh?
Dutch.
The spell, I can't pronounce it.
Spell it. Yeah.
D-E-U-T-C-H.
Dutch. That's correct.
That's my...
So yes, you know about Netherlands to be Dutch. A person from Burkina Faso is called a what? I don't understand what's the problem.
I need to ask you.
It's like, I don't understand what you're laughing.
Yeah, that was very hard.
I don't know. Burkina Faso.
But it's a very simple. It's very simple now. I was even giving him. I wanted to start from there too.
Burkina Faso one.
All right, let's go online. Mr. Rakib, are you there?
I googled it actually, but I still can't pronounce it even with the Google.
Burkinabe.
Burkinabe.
Right? Burkinabe. A person from Burkina Faso is called Burkinabe. Take it. Now let's proceed. A person from Ivory Coast.
It's an Ivorian.
Ivorian, thank you. Hold it. No, it's still for you. It's your microphone now. Nice. This one is microphone. A person from Côte d'Ivoire is called what?
Côte d'Ivoire. It's an Ivorian.
Smart. Do you know why?
Yeah, the same country.
One is English, one is French. Ivory Coast, English, Côte d'Ivoire, French. Take some.
Congo. Okay, Congo.
A person from Mali is a
Malia.
you know who they are.
It's
A
not
person
Nigerian
from
Malian.
Gambia.
Gambia.
A person from Cameroon.
Cameroonians.
A person from Togo.
Togorian.
Togorians.
Togolese.
Togo. Sorry. Well,
Togolese.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Togolese. Togolese. A person from Ghana.
Ghanaian.
Of course.
Ghanaian. Thank you. Then a person from the USA is called what?
American.
Americana. Thank you. Okay, a person from America is called.
American.
Okay, but keep talking now.
Akata.
Wait, so let me even understand. A person from Canada is called what? Oh, you know that one. If you fail it, I will apply for your deportation. They will deport. Okay, thank you. A person from Senegal is called what?
Senegalese.
Thank you. Now let's go higher. A person from Argentina.
Argentine. It's an Argentine.
Argentine.
Argentine. A person from Mexico.
Mexican.
Mexican. A person from Jericho.
No idea.
Okay. A person from Mexico is what? Mexican. Right? Then a person from Jericho.
Palestinian.
It's Jericho.
Jericho. Well, Jericho is not a country actually.
It's not a country.
Just wanted to test. It's just.
That's a place.
I wanted to say that too, but
And
I
then you did not.
didn't.
All right, so please, you need to know nationalities, especially the spellings. Spellings, please. Also build vocabularies from these. Because if I ask you someone from Chad, it's called what? Chadian. Very simple, right? So please know some of these things. You might be lucky. They will just talk about the country that you are very familiar with.
Someone from Equatorial Guinea.
Guinea.
Someone from Wales.
No, you know that one could be tricky.
Wales.
Yeah, the person from Wales
Is Welsh.
is what?
Welsh.
Thank you.
That one, I know
Because
that
in
is.
Equatorial Guinea, yes, Guinea-Bissau.
There is, yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
which one?
So which one? Like three of them are in the nation.
They all
Yes.
Guinea because they are the same thing before.
They separated the country. Very much.
So Guinea is
Guinea and
straight, right?
She's so
Okay, Scotland,
Scottish.
Scottish. A person from Britain,
British.
a person from England,
British.
English.
British.
Anybody from this English.
a person from England is an English.
British.
A person
From England.
from England is an English.
But Wales is not just
Britain is not just England.
Do you understand?
What of someone from Ireland?
Irish.
Irish.
Okay.
Right? So these are things, please build these things. Don't just overlook. Spain, Spanish,
What of someone from Swaziland?
Swaziland,
Swiss.
Switzerland or Swaziland.
Swaziland.
There's Swaziland.
That's Switzerland.
Yes.
Swaziland, Southern Africa, border with
Yes.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Swaziland. It's still Swaziland.
Botswana, yes, I know. Botswana.
Swaziland.
Swaziland.
Yes, Swaziland.
Yes.
Yeah, now.
Ah, I've
They
not
have
been
a
They
in.
are
team.
called
I
Swazi.
thought
They're called
South
Swazi.
Africans.
How do you spell it?
SWAZI.
Really?
Bantu speaking people.
Bantu?
Bantu speaking
Bantu. Swazi,
They
right?
border South Africa and
Swaziland is in
Botswana.
South Africa.
No, they border South Africa and Botswana.
Oh.
They are a small country in that place.
Around Mozambique. They are the same. They are just small.
What of Comoros?
Comoros, those are small.
Comorian.
Trinidad and Tobago people.
Trinidadian.
All right, so please, you should build your vocabularies. So proceed. Now, date of birth, we talked about that yesterday when you're writing the date of birth. Remember to write spell the month in full. And then the day, you can have your suffix and put in brackets, right? Know what I mean by suffix?
Yeah.
Maybe ST, RD, ND, TH. Yes, please.
Sorry.
Please,
For
can
the
you
people,
write it?
is it just for the people of IELTS that we put the TH in brackets?
Yes.
Or okay, just for the people of IELTS?
Yes, just IELTS.
Generally, people don't do that.
Yes. Then, email address is not very common, but if it is part of your answers, it's going to be called out just the way phone number and name will be called out. They will give you the makeup of the email, right? So you have to write.
Can you just write an example of how to write date of birth? Because I didn't really
You are taking us
The class is
back to yesterday.
We are in the class.
Date of
Check
birth,
your-
August the
check
6th.
your notes.
It's okay.
You were here yesterday, August the 6th.
So the year is not
August.
inclusive.
No, year is not. If year comes in, you'll be writing two numbers.
6.
No,
Right?
at the top of
Remember the day
Yeah.
comes in as a number.
Yeah,
So if you write year
I
again,
just
another number.
remember.
Remember?
Can we interchange like August 6th or 6th August?
It depends on how they also use it. Hmm? Can you remember the date of birth?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so let's continue. Rakib, are you following?
Yes.
Daisy, are you there? Can you hear me? She is online.
It's possible she's working. Like the day I tried to.
Okay. Now, interest. What is the person interested in? It could be to partake in an excursion. could be to be a tour guide. It could be for a temporary job. It could be for anything. It could be accommodation. It could be enrollment in a particular program. So whatever the person's interest is, if it's supposed to be part of your answers, please listen and write. Then, previous portfolio. Let's take, for instance, if the person is interested in being a tour guide, then the organizers will want to know the person's previous experiences. If the person has held or done a similar job, right? So you want to hear previous portfolio will always be said in the past. Will always be said in the past. So if the person says I used to be, what does it mean?
His previous portfolio.
Is the person still?
No.
If the person says I was, what does it mean?
Previous.
Past. So please listen. But if the question is asking about your current portfolio, the person may not say the current portfolio from the beginning. The person might say, well, I used to be the manager of the company, but I'm currently occupying. So you have to write the current portfolio. Don't rush and write what the person said I used to be. Do you understand? Then duration. Duration has to do with the time frame of any particular thing they are talking about. So if the duration happens to be for like 4 weeks, and the person, the receiver says, okay, we have this voluntary job, and the time is going to last for just a month. So I don't know if that fits into your time. And then the caller says, well, I think I'll be free for the next 4 weeks, so I wouldn't know if that would work for us. So 4 weeks, 1 month, the same thing. So which will you write? Go to the question. The question will indicate how your answer should come. Whether it should come in months or in weeks. Do you understand?
Like your answer now. If the question they ask you is months, are you free to paraphrase it?
No. You must write your answer exactly the way it is needed. Don't paraphrase it. Okay. Then, time. Remember we talked about time yesterday, right? So when you're treating time, ensure to check if there is anything like morning or afternoon or evening or AM or PM on the question paper. If there is, do not write it as part of your answer, please. Do you understand this? But if there is no such information and the audio tells you the time of the day, please write and indicate using AM or PM, but remember to put it in bracket. Let's go to section 2. Section 2 is about, it could be a dialogue if what was being discussed in section 1 was not completed. They could quickly bring it down to section 2, and 1, 2, 3, or 4 questions, then it's over. Right? But we're going to concentrate on monologue. What does monologue mean? Yes, please.
Monologue is when one person continuously speaking to the other person.
When one person is
Continuously
speaking.
Maybe passing information or instruction.
Thank you. This last part makes more sense. So madam is calculating money. Okay. Now, monologue is when one person is giving a talk, but there must be an audience. When one person is giving a talk, either to someone or a group of persons. Do you understand this? So, at that point, you must understand that monologues are usually faster than dialogues. You know, in dialogues, when I'm talking, you have to listen. Then when I'm done talking, then I wait for you to respond, right? But in monologues, the talker or the person giving or making the presentation or delivering the speech does not wait for you to process what has been said. So the person just talks at his or her own pace. Now you are supposed or expected to also be at the same pace with the person. So what do you do? Now, what are nouns? They are naming words, right? So the person would introduce by telling you what he or she will be. We're talking about a particular issue. It could be their project or presentation or anything. So you want to listen and get that. Then why are you doing it? What's the reason? And what impact will it make in that particular issue? Then who will be their target audience? They will give you an age bracket of people they would like to meet because they might want to go through questionnaires or any other process. So they have a particular target. People within a particular age bracket will be their target. And they also tell you where they should go to, the location to meet such age category. Then financial implication. They're going to also weigh the cost, how much it would cost them to execute that particular task. So they will deliberate on an amount, or they will deliberate on amount and agree on a particular amount, and that will be it. Then duration. How long will it cost them? How long will it take for them to achieve whatever thing they are talking about? It's going to be talked about, so you listen and get your answer. Then the effects or implication of not doing it, or the effects or implication of certain action activities or actions they took during the process of what they were supposed to achieve. Now, individual view. There will be section where you will have to identify what Elvis feels about so and so. So you will have to listen to Elvis when he is responding. That's when you pick the right thing from the list of options given. Unanimous view has to do with collective agreement. So you need to listen and get their collective agreement. It should be given to you like, or as a way of saying, well, at the end of our deliberations, I'm glad that we have all accepted. You might just hear, okay, so for me, I didn't have a problem with that. So what's your take? I would have said no, but I don't think I have another option for it because I don't have more time to invest in that. So indirectly, the other person too will say something, blah, 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 they will still. So at the end, unanimously they have, right? Then, solution, their final solution. So they would establish the final solution, right? About the whole thing they have agreed to do. It could be putting all of these things into a little slide, so that when they go for the presentation, they'll be rolling out the slides. Do you understand? So please, listen attentively and get all of that. Then section 4 can be a monologue or a group discussion, right? Whichever it is, please take the template. The template of monologue and group discussion and also treat it. But I want to just drop a little thing about section 4. Section 4 is always lengthy. It's usually lengthy. So please, ensure to reserve some energy. Ensure to reserve some energy. Some people get bored and tired out, right? So they lose a lot of points when they get to section 4. So please, and section 4 runs from 31 to 40. 10 whole bookmarks. So you may not be given all the time to read all the questions. So what you will do is, when it begins, it will tell you, first you have some time to read questions 31 to 40. When it tells you that, prepare your mind, they will run it. Do you understand? So what you do, go and read 36 to 40 first. Don't start from 31. If you begin with 31, by the time you get to 35, audio will start. So you go back to 31. And when you begin with 31, you are finding your answer and you are missing some. By the time you get to 36, you are tired, you are lost. Because you don't know where to go. Right? But when you start with 36 to 40, you've recorded some information about 36 to 40. Then when it begins, you go to 31, you will manage that 31 to 35, you will manage it. Then when it gets 36, you would key in again because you've had a picture of it beforehand. Do you understand this? So please, reserve some strength and interest for 31 to 40. Don't take energy drink. Alright, please, the mic. The mic? Who has the mic?
Yeah. Usually start listening, right?
test.
Okay, so I don't know if
Press. Okay, it's ready?
yeah. So I don't know if it's a trick, but I've noticed that if you start from that 35 or 36 down to, it's better because when you go back to that 31, they blab for like
Some
seconds that give you time to read your questions, because there's this blabbing that is not really part of what they are saying. I think that's a trick.
You've practiced a lot. Nice, well done. So that's a very plain exposition. Now, in that section 4, let me tell you what they do. If a section says, if the narrator says, first you have some time to read questions 31 to 40. I said prepare your mind, they're going to write, right? There are exercises or practices you'll be engaging in. After 35, they will take a pause. The narrator will tell you anything. They'll take a little pause. Sometimes you feel that the audio is no longer playing. They are taking that pause for your own sake. They want to give you a little time to go through the remaining questions. Right? So if you get such opportunity, please read. While some 31 to 40, it will tell you, first you have some time to read 31 to 35. It will break it. So after the 35th question, it will tell you, before you hear the rest of the information, you have some time to read questions 36 to 40. That's nice for you. But some, you won't even know that they have gone to 36. So it is important you read 36 to 40 first. And when the audio is playing in 30, from that 36 to 40, they give very long gists. Very long gists. Don't get carried away by the gist. Focus on the goal. Huh? Focus on the focus. And make sure it's not my business. Just focus on that focus. Just fix that 31 where you expect to write an answer. Right? So what do? Always read the last two words and the 2 words before and the 2 words after that environment where you are supposed to get an answer. The 2 words before and the 2 words after that blank space that you're supposed to get an answer. It would place you at a right track. Right? So whenever the audio paraphrases says about those words you've read, you will know that it's about to drop an answer. Right? So that's about the listening test. Finally, listening test requires 101% concentration. If you drift away, it's gone. If you drift away, it's gone. If you teleport, some people can just be here and they've gone to their village. If you teleport, by the time you realize, 2 things have happened. No, you don't get to that level. 2 things must have happened. Look at what will happen. You have missed some answers. You don't know where they are talking about next. So you still struggle to meet up. And before you meet up, you've missed 1 or 2 more answers. Please don't teleport. Please. Tell your mind, Oga, stay here. Right? Please tell yourself that. Stay here. Right? So it's just for about 35 minutes and it's over. Okay? So this is it about the listening test. The more you practice your listening test, the better you get. It improves naturally if you're putting in interest. It improves naturally. So if you've had just an experience, begin now to practice. You will notice that you will keep improving. Even if you're not improving up to what you expect, keep pushing. Right? A week to your exam, let me know. I'm going to give you a link to a master's practice for IELTS listening test. It's usually more difficult. Sometimes you will be scoring like 4.0 under that master's. In the regular, you might be scoring 7.5, 8. But by the time you get to this master's, this is what you might be seeing. Sometimes you see 5. Highest you see 5.5. When you are able to score up to 6 in masters, don't worry, go and write your exam. There's nothing you will get that will be below 7.5. Right? Because masters is very high.
That's your classes again.
3.0.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much.